Hi students, welcome to the video lectures of speech and natural language processing. So today we'll talk about articulatory phonetics. So what are articulatory phonetics? How this is important for us and what are their roles? That is, what are the articulators and their roles? And we see the manner of articulation and we see some example of these articulatory descriptions. Okay. And coming to the introduction of articulatory phonetics, let us try to see this. Introduction to articulatory phonetics. This articulatory phonetics is the branch of phonetics that studies how speech sounds are produced by the movement of different parts of the vocal tract. And different parts of this vocal tract, we are mentioning it as articulators. They are called as articulators. So it focuses on the physical movements of the tongue, lips, vocal cords, and other speech organs. Understanding articulatory phonetics helps in analyzing and classifying sounds of human language. So when we say that it focuses on physical movements of the tongue, lips, vocal cords, and other speech organs, it is trying to tell you that when you pronounce a letter, when you pronounce an alphabet, when you pronounce a word, what parts of the human vocal tract, that is your articulators, are being in sync with. That we'll try to understand, which will make us to analyze and classify the sounds of human language. So next is speech production mechanism. So the production of speech sounds involves the speech organs or articulators, as we mentioned earlier. These are broadly divided into air source, that is through lungs, voice box, that is larynx, and articulators are vocal tract. So the vocal tract consists of active and passive articulators. So active articulators are parts that move during speech production. Example, tongues and lips. Next, passive articulators. That is stationary parts. Example, teeth, alveolar ridge. We'll see what are these. So the following are the articulators and their roles. So first, let us see lips, which are used to produce bilabial sounds, labiodental sounds, and these are the letters or alphabets which produce the sound using this articulator. So for example, let us consider P in this, and let us say PAT, pat. When we say pat, the P in pat will need it's a bilabial sound. Then teeth work with the lips or tongue to create sounds. So example would be think. Next is alveolar ridge, bony ridge behind the upper teeth, key for alveolar sounds. What is this? Example is top. So when you say the word called top, you can observe the synchronization of the vocal tracts. Next, hard palate, roof of the mouth, used for palate sounds. Yes. Next is velum, we call soft palate, back part of the roof involved in velar sounds. So example, you can see sing. Next is tongue, most versatile articulator, produces many types of sounds. So basically, whenever we speak, our tongue is the most important organ where most of the words we talk and using this particular articulator or your organ. So it has a huge impact on many alphabets. So example, we can say cat. Okay. Glottis. So opening between vocal cords is your glottis, which produces glottal sounds. For example, hat, HAT, hat can be considered as. Next, classification of speech sounds. Speech sounds are classified based on how and where they are produced in the vocal tract. It is based on how and where they are produced in the vocal tract. So its origin in our what particular articulator is what your classification of speech sounds speaks about. So place of articulation. Place of articulation, the place in vocal tract where the airflow is constricted. So bilabial, as we have seen just now, all these things. So where bilabial sounds are produced when both lips touch. Labiodental, where lower lip and upper teeth. Example, we can say for bilabial, bat can be the best example for bilabial. So when you say bat, so our both lips will touch. Next is labiodental, our lower lip and upper teeth will touch. For example, fish. Okay. Then alveolar, tongue touches alveolar ridge. Okay. And the example is dog. So when you say the word called dog, so you can see the tongue is touching your ridge. Next is palatal. Tongue touches heart palate. For example, she. She. Okay. Then velar, where back of the tongue touches soft palate. Cat. Glottal. Sound produced at the glottis. Example is hat. H-A-T, hat. Right. Next, manner of articulation. So manner of articulation, that is how the airflow is modified during sound production. So how the airflow is modified during the sound production. So first one is stops, and sometimes the stops is also mentioned as plosive. And this plosive or stops, that is airflow is completely blocked and released. For example, let us consider a word called tap, TAP, tap. So when you say this, some airflow will be blocked and released, right? Then fricatives. What are fricatives? Air passes through a narrow opening, creating the friction. For example, let us say sit, SIT, sit. There you can see this particular phenomena. Then is affricates, with the combination of a stop and a fricative is affricate. So for example, let us consider chip, CHIP, chip. So you can see the particular phenomena in that word. Next is nasals. Air passes through the nose. For example, you can say man, man, man. So you can see this. Then it's liquids where air flows around the sides of the tongue. The best example for this is leaf, L-E-A-F, leaf. So next is glides. So semi-vowels produced with minimal constriction. So example is win. Okay. So these are called the manner of articulation. That is how the airflow is modified during the sound production. Now we have seen a couple of examples for each, for stops or plosives or fricatives or affricates and nasals, liquids and glides. We have seen each example for. Next is voicing. Voicing is whether the vocal cords vibrate during the sound production. Okay, so voiced sounds, vocal cords will vibrate. Voiceless sounds, vocal cords do not vibrate. Then examples of articulatory descriptions. Just now we have seen everything and an example. Now let's have one more example here. So first one, voiceless bilabial stop for the alphabet P. So bilabial is nothing but the lips. The manner is stop, air completely blocked and released. So voicing is voiceless since we have no vibration there. Then it's N and S, you can see here. Then importance of articulatory phonetics. So articulatory phonetics is critical for or crucial for language teaching, which helps learners master the pronunciation. So since we are dealing with this articulatory phonetics, we are we are able to understand how various alphabets are being pronounced and how the words are being pronounced, based on which there can be a very good analysis of the human spoken language or sound that he or she is making, right? So now language teaching is one which helps learners master pronunciation, speech synthesis and recognition, where understanding articulators aids in creating natural sounding speech. Next is speech therapy, that is identifies and corrects speech disorders. And then linguistic analysis classifies and studies sounds of various languages. Thank you, students.